So I'm sitting here with my morning cup of coffee. It's actually tea, it's not coffee. I had to back off on the coffee, if you know what I mean. And I just wanted to talk to you guys about some of the things that I've been working in, some of the things that are helping me to create a bit more peace of mind. I find that as we slip into the periods known as the holidays, whether you celebrate Christmas or not, or whether you look forward to the turning of the new year or not, globally, I feel that there's a lot of energy happening, a lot of buying, a lot of family connections, a lot of stuff happening. And so I'm sitting here and I'm trying to retain peace. I've come to terms with the fact that peace is the most important thing to me. And regardless of anything else, I crave that sense of peace. I crave that sense of grounded centeredness and just peace of mind, tranquility, time to myself. Like, these are things that are in short supply right now. It's a very, very busy period. My eldest daughter is finishing up primary school and going into secondary school here. And that means a lot of wrap-up stuff, a lot of ceremonies, a lot of dinners, a lot of stuff, right? So I've just been flat out with that. I've got to be somewhere at 11:30 this morning for a presentation thing. Oh. And I'm there for it all. So I want to provide her with as much support as I possibly can, because this is her last year at our nice little country private school. So on top of that, we've just had the worst weather, in that I actually like the mist and the rain. I love it, actually. I love it. It is my heavenly period of weather, if you could call it that. I hear all over my little patch of the world, people are like, when is the sun coming out? We've got this, what is commonly described as neurotic weather. And it's the rain and the sun and the rain and the sun and the rain and the sun. And it's that toggling of weather all day long, every damn day. To which I'm like, I love it. I have an ADHD brain. I can accommodate that kind of spike pattern that's happening there. And I really like it. Plus, I love the rain. I love the mist. I love the darkness. And I live in a big pocket of forest. So when it's dark, it's dark. And I love that. I'm personally like a bat, really. And my partner is such a solar person. Like, hi Angela, he really craves that sun. And so many people are like, we get such a short summer because we're so close to Antarctica down here. We're deep south in a tiny pocket of the world, and we're detached from the mainland Australia. So that's where Tasmania is, Van Diemen's Land, detached from mainland Australia. And if you just keep going south, you hit Antarctica. So we get the Antarctic winds, we get the Antarctic weather systems that come up. And today we're expected to get 15 mil of rain. And I'm supposed to be at a mate's house trying to whippersnipper so that we can set up the electric fence to contain some of their livestock. So, it gets in the way. And I've got to say that our yard, which is about 5-6 acres of cleared space where our fence line is, and then a fire break around it. There's heavy woods all around that. But our little pocket's like a little glade. It's quite clear and cleared out. And that's where we live. We've got our houses here. We've got all of our little bits and pieces, our water tanks and all of that. Well, about 6 acres. 6 acres of that needs to be mowed. It needs to be mowed, and we're on a bit of a hillside, right? So it's perfect for planting orchards and that kind of business. But we're on a hillside, so it's not easy getting around with a mower. And I'm terrified of the ride-on. I'm absolutely terrified of the ride-on. So I do the whippersnipping and I work the push mower. Which gets in around the little trees and hard to reach places and all of that kind of stuff. But I haven't been able to get out there and do that because you don't mow when everything is drenched in water. Like, I've had to do it in duress one time, and I literally looked like a grass monster. And it gets in everything, absolutely everything. Hi, Sonia. You know, I'm catching up on live and I'm also creating on chat line called, oh, noise. Let me have a sip. And we sip. These days, peace is an uninterrupted cup of tea. This is my third of the morning. I'm still waiting for a call from my cardiologist. They said they would call me on Friday, so I stressed out all day Friday and they didn't call. And then the weekend came by and they obviously didn't call, not that I expected it. And then Monday came through and they didn't call. So I cracked the shits, really, I did. And I called up and I'm like, and I had to leave a voicemail, and it was the most neurotic voicemail you will ever hear. I'm like, hi, enter my name, you know. I was told that I would be getting a call on the afternoon of the Friday just gone to discuss the fact that I have a 2.5 centimeter hole in my heart and they were looking at surgery options. Naturally, I didn't get the call. And so I'm sitting here very stressed and very anxious. And I'm concerned that my surgeon might fumble my surgery. I just went into it. I let all of my anxiety just like spew out of my mouth. Anyway, I'm anticipating contacting them again today. So we will see. We will see how that happens, because apparently in Tasmania, we have the worst health system in Australia. The worst health system in Australia. And I feel like there is a huge disconnect between doctors and patients and nurses and patients. You know, the medical industry down here is very understaffed. I understand that. And I think my partner was telling me the other day that they're beginning this initiative that if you are in Australia or living in Australia, they'll put you through nursing school for virtually free. And that's a university degree, so not bad if you want to be a nurse. Anyway, so that's creating a lot of stress in my life. And so on top of that, oh, thanks, Sonia. Yes, it's hard not to stress. I try to stay pretty occupied, and you know, I've been journaling a lot. Okay, let's lift the conversation a little bit, right? Okay. Do you like to journal? Hands up if you like to journal. Okay, no, they're my tombos. I have found a newfound love and peace. It's beautiful to have a diary or a journal or a agenda of some description that is a full year, because then you can see your ups and downs when you were busy and all of that. So I'm going through my journal here and I'm looking at all the things that I have enjoyed. And it's clear to me that this year became the year that I became a little bit obsessed with, nice, Sonia, with mushrooms. And if you are a journaler, then you'll appreciate this. Okay. So around the Black Friday sales, I invested in some washi tapes, which I haven't done for a really long time. I'm looking at washi now. Now, I love a good moon washi, and I have one already, but that is my washi there. That's my lunar washi, which is very subdued, very matte, very smoky and lovely. This one here is my Witchy. It's my Witchy one. Look at this beautiful washi tape. It's got the mushrooms on it. It's got the moons. It's got the crystals. It's so nice. Oh, thanks, Angela. And this one here looks beautiful in a journal. And then I got this one here. All the mushrooms, because I was very into mushrooms, but it's all like the lunar mushrooms. I might actually turn on a light because I feel like the picture is rather grainy. Can you see part of my Christmas tree in the background? There we go. There we go. I've got lint all over me. The doggies and the lint. Okay, so as I was saying, let me show you all of them again. I got these washi tapes from, there we go, that's probably a nicer way of doing it. I have very short fingers. From the Washi gang. And I got the hot tip. They're quite good. I grabbed a couple of like Chrissy presents for my daughter, who's very into journaling now and a little bit of art. And I like to just gently add to her collection. I don't want to overwhelm her, and she's welcome to use any of my art supplies. And I feel like I've amassed quite a good art supply. But look at this page. This one came accidental, right? So I sent a package off to a friend yesterday, and I'm like, I draw like a child, yes, but I'm experimenting with all of this doodle art. It's my first time I got to do a live. Oh, that's beautiful. Well, we have been journaling quite a bit. We have been like, I've been going ballistic in the sense of like doing a little drawing here and practicing my cloud forms. I decided the cloud that I like. I've been sketching my kids. I've been doing my favorite little flowers. And one of the things that came out of my ADHD analysis, there's my teapot. That's what it looks like. I'm pretty happy with that one, actually. And my coffee plunger. Yeah, one of the things that came out of that ADHD analysis was that she gave me some sort of strategies and some building blocks to organize myself, because I struggle a lot with executive dysfunction. And so the things that are very simple to organize into steps. Oh, an average person, a non-neurodivergent person can sit down and go, okay, well, for me to get from here to here, I need to implement this step and that step and that step. My brain goes, for me to get from there to there, I need to take the biggest jump ever. And that means I have to overload myself at the start just so I can make the jump, you know. My brain works in a really funny way. And so the tip that my beautiful psychologist gave me was to keep my journal open. I know, this is so simple. The first one was keep your shoes on. When you wake up in the morning, get dressed and put your shoes on. You're ready to start the day, and you will get a lot more done because you're ready. There's no procrastinating to get ready. You're just done. You're ready. You're good to go. So I've actually got my boots on right now, and I'm fully ready to start the day, and it's 9:17. I've been pretty ready for the last hour. So good. And so keeping my journal open means that I can add to it. I'm a voracious appointments person. Lately, I've just had so many appointments between the hospital, the doctors, the kids' end of year things. There's just been so much going on. There was a day where I had 9 appointments to get to. 9 appointments to get to. And I had the kids for about 2 weeks because their father had gone away for a work trip to the Cocos Islands off the coast of Western Australia. And so it was just me. My partner was working, my sister's working, I had to go and pick my dad up from the airport, which is about an hour and a half away from here. So there was a lot of stuff happening on top of Christmas, on top of holiday shopping, and on top of up and down plans. Now, my beautiful baby sister that lives up in Brisbane, whom you've seen on my channel before, wanted to come down. They let me know like really early in the year that they were intending on coming down. But then her husband, my brother-in-law, got a new job. And then the date of whether or not they were coming, or the idea of whether or not they were coming and the date that they were coming was all very up in the air. Like it's like somebody threw all the chips up in the air and they hadn't quite landed. So we didn't know if we were going to stay in Tasmania, if we were going to escape, because I won't have my kids this year. They're going to their father's parents, you know, their grandparents, their other grandparents, that is. And this is the first year in 12 years of me being a mother that I have not spent Christmas with my children. The first year ever. So I'm taking it on the chin, and I'm pretty positive about it, but I just know that when Christmas comes, even though we're doing an early Christmas celebration because they're leaving on the 23rd, and I'm going to do the Santa thing, and I'm going to do the food thing, and I'm going to do everything early on the 21st. Come Christmas Day, I will still be a hopeless fool of a woman rocking in a corner somewhere going, my babies. Because that's the nature of life, isn't it? And so when I say to you, journaling has genuinely brought me a lot of peace. Journaling also helps me become accountable, right? So I create lists for myself. You know, I've played around with the critical 8 list, and, you know, I've just at least like to put 3 things on my list. Oh, thank you, Sonia. And because of that, because I like to create lists and I leave my journal open, what happens is I get the satisfaction of ticking things off, or the accountability of something looking back at me going, okay, you haven't done that yet. Whereas in the past, that's stuffed with my brain. So I just move things across now. If I didn't get to it for whatever reason, I don't put all the pressure on myself. I just move it across, and it becomes the first thing on the next page. And the first thing that I need to do. If I do nothing else the next day, I need to do that one thing that I didn't get done the day before. And that's how I go about it. Without putting too much pressure on myself, I have suddenly become a bit more organized. I also do my diary, my phone, and the wall calendar. And when I say that I do my phone, I have a very specific way of entering my appointments. I add my appointment, I put in a reminder, you know, an early reminder a week to 2 weeks out, depending on, I've got some appointments happening in March of next year. So I've got out by a month, that kind of thing. And then I have 3 notifications. So I do typically 1 week ahead, 3 days before, and then the day of. So 3 reminders to ensure that I have that detail locked into my brain. On top of that, it's written in my diary and it's written on the wall calendar. And then I have a sticky note thing over there. See that thing? Yeah. That's all the important stuff. But I look at it and look at it and look at it, and oh, yeah, it's really, really good. So journaling for the win. And when I journal, I found this little baby on Amazon, right? I go through pencil cases because, I don't know, I don't understand why. I find pencil cases and I think they'll be good, and I use them for a couple of years. I'm not wasteful. And then I'm like, it just doesn't fit enough. So I got this one here, which is a medium-sized pencil case. Okay, so medium-sized pencil case. But the thing that I love about it is it's got this little section right here where all of my favorite pens and my whites and my markers are, and then all of my favorite Prismacolors are in here, and my washi tapes are in here, my paper mate, I have my little watercolor palette, my Daniel Smith watercolor palette in there, and I have, what crystal do I have? I have a lapis crystal in there. I like lapis for creativity, and then my washies that I'm using today, and that's where I put everything. And my Aquash pen, and then I have a small selection of like Prismacolors and like those sort of tones there. Sometimes I do a little colouring in pencil, and I really like Prismacolor for that. There we go. So I've got that basic selection of colours there. Probably a few more. Oh, yeah, I forgot my green. There we go. As you can see, I stay within a nice colour palette, and then I have a mad selection of these pens, which are fine liners. And I use the Uniball fine line. I think I absolutely ruined the tip of this 0.2. I've got 0.4, 0.0, 0.3, so that's ultra fine. 0.2, Yep, and 0.3s. So I created myself a nice little organized pencil case to do all of my journaling. I keep all of my Tombow markers, all of them in here. That's not all of them, but I keep them in this nice little Busy Bee bag, and I keep both of them there. And then I decided that I was going to invest in some how to draw education, because I'm very, very wanting to learn how to draw properly and paint and color. And I don't know if it's because my dyslexic brain can't do perspective or something. I find it very challenging. And so I invest in these types of things. And I like it. And recently, during the Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales, I invested in some Domestika courses. I don't know if you're not familiar with Domestika. This is not sponsored at all. I just got the hot tip. My baby sister is a digital artist on, she works with Procreate. And so she's the one that gave me the hot tip. And then I was perusing their courses. And then one of my besties, Erin of Erin Duncan Art, is also brought up the awesomeness of Domestika. So I decided to have a look, and I took this course. I did this course. I ate it up. Like, I genuinely was like, wow, I love this style. I love it. It was, hang on, let me see if I can find it, because he's on Instagram. Nope. Albert Kiefer. Okay, I'm going to show you some of his art. See how beautiful it is? I'm going to pull up individual images. I just loved his art style. This is all in a Moleskine with alcohol markers. Like, he uses the Copic and I believe what's the name of that? It might be Winsor and Newton markers as well. I'm more of a watercolor artist, and I prefer, I use the term artist very loosely, mind you, and I prefer the Tombow markers, which are water activated as well. But I just fell in love with this man's style. Like, it's busy without being ultra detailed, and there's just such a whimsical, oh, look at that. There's just such whimsy into it. And so, look at that one. It's so liney, it's so scribbly. And he did this thing in his course, which I found really engaging. He did this thing, excuse me, where he talked about writing the lines. And I was like, oh my God. So for a week straight, I was sketching everything in front of me, like scribbly. And I loved it. I loved the whimsy of it. And so this is what I have been doing to create that sense of peace, because I haven't had time to myself. I haven't had a day off. I haven't had spare time. I haven't had uninterrupted time. I have just had so many demands put on me by work, which I love, don't get me wrong, then my kids' end of year stuff, the wrap up, the Christmas period, the health stuff that I've got to deal with, the property maintenance stuff that I have to deal with, all the stuff happening because of the holidays. I'm supposed to be here for this person's Christmas party and there for that person's Christmas party, and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. I've had to say a lot of no, which actually hurts me, because no to people that I really love, I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't make it. I'm so heavily booked on that day. And I can't take on anything else without being that douchey person that says, I'm sorry, I have to check my diary first. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to have to look. I'm going to have to look at my diary before I make any commitments. And that's why I have everything in my Google Calendar, because whenever I'm booking appointments at health or the periodontist or something like that, yes, I've had like consecutive periodontal visits that have been so grueling. Like, I'm talking, oh my God, so painful. I'm talking needles in your mouth and deep cleans and that. They have been hard. And I've had women's health appointments because I have something weird going on with my ovaries and I might have to have a partial hysterectomy and, you know, all of that. All of that. So all of these appointments that I have, all of these appointments make it very hard for little old me to find that time. So I journal a lot. And I have my very, very solid sort of spiritual practice of the morning. So journaling has become that spiritual practice for me. It's time for myself, time to play with color. Sometimes I sigil in my journal just for a little oomph, just for a little power. And then I get on and I start my day. But I pimp all my shoes. So all my shoes are drawn on, have sigils in them, have paper under the shoe. What do you call it? The sole of the shoe, and a little oil, a little powder, that kind of stuff. I'll show you. It's not enough for me to tell you. I'll show you. See this curtain? I don't like its color right, but see how I've got all these pins on it? They're all from book boxes and they're all literary pins. Okay, so these are my Chuck Taylors. They have seen better days. They're very, very scuffed up and dirty, but you can actually see on the inside there, I write things. There, I write things on the insides of my shoes, and then I stuff things underneath the sole of the shoe. I'm not even going to take that out. It's so in there. And that's how I start the day. I make sure that all of my shoes have a little magic in them because they're going to take me far and wide, keep me safe, keep me protected, keep me guarded. And I go out to my little spiritual corner out here. And thank you, Pam. Yeah, you've got to use what you've got. I need a new pair of gumboots, a new pair of Wellingtons or galoshes. I know that there's many names for the same thing. Because we have a lot of snakes on the property, I usually get a really basic pair, and then I draw my anti-snake sigils all over it, my protection from rolled ankles, which I'm prone to, put it that way. You know, the property isn't a manicured property, so there's a lot of holes and the dogs like to dig, and we've got 3 dogs here on the property, so they are unruly at best. We've got a red heeler that likes to dig up everything. I've gone through 3 blue moon roses because of that puppy. But I've got a witchy herb garden started out there, so I've got a stack of pallets there that have been turned into a little raised garden bed that I plan on planting all of my little seeds. And I picked up a few seeds from the Signet Market last week just for that garden. Our food garden is looking really good. We've got potatoes coming through, we've got leeks coming through, onions coming through. We got some carrots into the raised beds not too long ago. The coriander is going off, the sage, the thyme. Oh, there's so many yummy things. We've had to move the rhubarb. There's been so much stuff, and we've got grapes coming through and strawberries coming through, and there's a lot growing out there, and it takes a lot of time to play around with that. So we've been really lucky, and we've got baby spinach, which we use a lot. Instead of lettuce, we use this rich, beautifully organic spinach, and it's just so yummy. It's so good. We've had broccoli, and it went really well. And we also had something else, actually. We had broccoli and something. And snow peas. Yeah. So that's pretty much what we're working with out there. And we've got plans for a polytunnel. So we've actually hired a digger. All of this takes time, right? Hired a digger and leveled out a little spot. We've got all the stuff to build the poly. We just haven't had the time to do it. We've got all the stuff to build the cover over the generator, but we just haven't had the time to do it. The generator's in. The concrete pad is done. I'm getting an ensuite here. And that might sound a bit bougie, but I live in a 2-bedroom tiny home and my bathroom is outside. And there have been times where I've actually had to walk out in -5 degrees, have a hot shower, and come out in -5 degrees and walk into the house. It is absolutely grueling, I'm not going to lie, but I've become so used to it. But my partner, who's a little bit more like, a lady shouldn't live like this, more because he's precious and he's like, I don't want to live like this. And he's very capable. He's putting in the bathroom. So putting in the bathroom there, putting in a walk-in robe, because what we lack the most is actually a I can kill succulents. I'm impressed you can grow things. I know what you mean. I don't particularly have a growing skill, although you don't need one here. Like, the land is perfect for that kind of growth. You plant seeds, and about the most you learn is that certain seeds need more soil underneath them. They need a deeper root system to really connect. And that's about it. Like, that's it. I've learned that. I could never grow anything up north. Like, I kept peace lilies and maiden hair ferns alive for a very long time, but that's it. That's all I could do. Yes. But all of that going on in the garden now is just, it's beautiful to see. It's absolutely beautiful to see. We've got an outdoor bath set up as well, and it's fed by rainwater. And so on those beautiful summer nights, which we haven't had at all, nice, Madonna lilies. We haven't had that much playtime in it. The kids played in it the other day on a hot day. They were really excited. But it's a nice solid cast iron bath with a little deck around it. My partner's a Virgo, so he does everything perfectly, very aesthetically, but he's a huge upcycler, and because he's a engineer, he has this way of looking at things where he makes everything fit. I'll show you something here, right? So please forgive the mess in the kitchen. See those two cupboards at the top? Hold on. Oh, sorry to balance you. Like that cupboard and that cupboard, those down lights, right? Well, they were actually a single cupboard unit, an upright single cupboard unit, and he found the doors somewhere else. He found the cupboard upright like this. He cut it in half, turned it off to the side, finished the edges, put these other doors on there, and all of that cost like $20. He just sees it. I don't know how he does it. He's quite amazing. He just sees it. And he's like, yeah, and we could do it. And then we'll put some downlights underneath it. And it made the world of difference. I had these two shitty little shelves up there because this was a one-man dwelling. That's it. A one-man dwelling. We've also come up with this a bit. I'll tilt you across. Yeah. Forgive that. And I'll move the salt there. But see the boxes? These little boxes? This is where our tea is. There's the teapots. There's more up there. And we've got all these little boxes. We've got them by our bedside as well because we're going for a modern rustic look in here. It's a slow process and it's a nice transformation, but it's happening slowly. And he's just such a capable human being. And so we're slowly building a really nice home. He's the reason why we have our very first Christmas tree. Real Christmas tree, not a Christmas tree. I've always done a Christmas tree, mind you. It's never been easy. My ex-husband was like anti-Christmas or something like that. He wouldn't do Christmas trees, or he wanted to do a two-dimensional flat hang off the wall Christmas tree, something like that. Hang on. I didn't see that. Where's my... Okay, there we go. Hello, I don't often take part in the chat on your channel. Okay. Happy to see you live. Oh, that's nice. But yeah, so we went out on the weekend and on our own property and cut down a little tree and I did a little blessing and, you know, it was really nice. This is our first very real Christmas tree. It's in a little bucket, a bow and pebbles, and the kids helped to decorate it, and it was so delightful. I posted a photo of my eldest daughter in a moon boot trudging through the dark of the forest, and she was delighting. She's like, Mum, it's so awesome. She's gotten really into Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? You know, the story? The story, the Netflix show. Was it Wednesday? I can't be asked to remember everything, okay? Anyway, she's gotten really into it. So she was in there and feeling that sense of witchy delight. Love the smell of a real Christmas tree, especially on Christmas. I know. Out on your own property. Awesome. Yeah, it's Wednesday. Thank you. Yes, it's Wednesday. So she's out there. I'll show you a little photo. She's just so proud of my kids. And for her especially, who's been in a moon boot, we've taken her camping and, like, look at this. Oh, wait, that's probably not the best one. Look at her delighting there. Look at how dark it is. She's just delighting there. Oh, my other little one, she's like, I love it. We were just going in there, and look at her just heading into the actual forest in a little moon boot, giving it a go. God, I'm so proud of her. She had to do a school camp in a moon boot. She was in crutches and a cast at first, and then transitioned into a moon boot with crutches, and then, you know, she was able to put the crutches away. And I'm telling you, she complained, she cried a little bit, you know, it was, having a broken limb is not an easy thing, but she did not use it as an excuse for anything. I was really impressed with her. She went to school camp. We did a little walking through the city, and she wanted to do a little girly shopping, so we did some of that, and we stopped when she felt a little bit, oh, my foot hurts a little bit, so we'd stop and we'd have a cuppa, and she was really, really good about it. So the fact that she's like, are we going to go and get a Christmas tree? I want to go and get a Christmas tree. And she was keen to follow the boys, but there was quite a deep gully. And so my partner and my son are like, my two little ADHD men, they're like, whoa! And they've gone for it. And the girls have stayed behind for no other misogynistic reason other than Serenity was absolutely terrified. She thought monsters were going to come out. So she's like clung to me, and I'm supporting my daughter in a moon boot who's like, I don't think I can get down there. I've just looked at it, and I don't think I can get down there. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. So we've had that to deal with, you know, on top of all of my own stuff. I've had to take my daughter for all of her hospital visits, for all of the plastering, for all of the x-rays. Like, there's just been so much on. Oh, this is the first year. This is the first work year that I've had to take my time with client readings. I've still been doing readings, but I have been doing like 3 readings a week as opposed to 5 readings a day, because I don't have the time for 5 readings a day. And I'm telling you, like, this is the first year that I've really had to use that 3-month period. It doesn't make me feel good, but I have to try and balance as much as possible. And I'm sitting here trying to prep myself for this this 11:30 thing, this presentation. I've had multiple calls to do, and I'm just organizing my day. My day won't start until I've come back from that presentation, because I've had a few work things to do today. And I've decided to give myself a bit of time, come on here live and have a little bit of a break. But I wanted to talk to you as well about my just that spiritual practice of a morning. Like I said, I do my shoes, right? And I do love to do my shoes, but I also prepare my jewelry. I tend to always wear this. This is from the Witch's Bounty. It's great for when I'm fiddly and I sit there and I just do this. It annoys everybody else, but it stops me from biting my fingernails. Yeah, I've got a thing with this one. Okay, and I picked these up from a local jeweler here in Signet, and I love them. They're my Venetian ones. I actually, hold that thought, I got a box yesterday, so while I'm here I may as well. There's my snizzers. So lately I've still been buying books, and I've still been making the most of my Audible subscriptions. Oh, this is a Witches. Witches Roots from the looks of it. Yeah. Witches Roots. We'll get to that. But I have been doing I've been doing a lot of reading on the side, right? By the way, look at my scissors. I love them. They're so good. So I've been doing a fair bit of reading. My daughter has gotten into reading. She's dyslexic and she's a visual learner. So I discovered that her magic entry point for reading was actually graphic novels. And so she's read the Heartstopper. Is it Heartstopper? Yeah. Alice Oseman? Yeah, that one. She's also read... She audiobooked all of Nevermore by Jessica Townsend. She's been doing a lot of toggling between books. She took a book away with her on camp. Just made my life. I was like, Mum, can I take a book with me on camp? And I'm like, God, I never thought this day would come. And my partner's looking at me going, good job, good job. Taking the piss, mind you. But I picked up, oh my God, I have to show you this. Because I was book shopping, right? I was book shopping. I knocked over all my lipsticks then. Not all of them, just the two that were sitting on the edge. Okay, so I bought this book here, The Inheritance Games. Great. Very happy with that. And in case anyone, this is not what I'm excited about. Oh, well, I am, because I like to read, but Barnes is a master of puzzles and plot twists. Avery has a plan. Keep her head down, work hard for a better future. Then an eccentric billionaire dies, leaving her almost his entire fortune, and no one, least of all Avery, knows why. So there's more to that story. But the Inheritance trilogy of books I've heard a lot about. This is the thing that I'm excited about. Ready? I walked into the bookstore the other day and there was Fairies of Tasmania, Collected Sightings by Lady Plumage, illustrated by Terry Whitthorne or Whitthorne. Oh, look at this. Cleanse your eyes, there is so much more to be seen. Lady Plumage. So cute, right? Fairies of Tasmania. Okay, now I'm not going to show you every page. This is definitely like... the fairies. Okay, so there's a lot of like beautiful stuff here. Look at this. And that one is Bluebird. And then we have an eye study here. And then we have the daisies. This is so pretty. Like I couldn't, oh, it's so pretty. And I was flicking through it at the bookstore going, oh my God, little insects and there's such beautiful write-up of it all and where you find it, Wynyard. Isn't it beautiful? It's just such a gorgeous, gorgeous book. I'm going to have to do potentially a full flip through because, oh my God, just look at that. Oh, this is one of my favorites. Sorry for the glare. As you can see, it's a beautiful book. And the fact that it's Fairies of Tasmania, where I live, is just adorable. And I was a big fan of, oh God, I've already forgotten his name. Brian Froud. So let's have a little look at the Witch's Roots. Okay. It's a bookmark. All right, we have the astrology collection. We're working with Skullcap for this one. Very interesting. Look at how pretty that is. Okay. And then we have an astrological reading card. Every day I focus on what is important. The Waxing Gibbons 5. I'd like to, but I've got so many important things every day. And then we have a really nice astrological card that would look great in a journal, by the way. And then we have the Skullcap. Ooh, here we go. I'll show it to you. And then I'll read some of it. Zodiac sign of Capricorn, Pisces, and Scorpio. The chakras of heart and third eye. Colors blue, green, grey, indigo, purple, silver, violet, white. Stones, amethyst, angelite, astrophyllite, azurite, celestite, charite, charisite, iolite, labradorite, all the ites. Lapis, moonstone, numenite, sapphire, scholasite, selenite, serpentine, and sodalite. Botanicals, bramble, catnip, juniper, lavender, licorice, meadowsweet, mint, myrtle, olive, passion flower, rue, spikenard, sweet pea, tansy, vervain, violet, willow, yebramite. So just some of the information there. And we've got a little Theban down the side there. I love the botanical illustrations. I tend to have them up on my wall here in the kitchen. See, I'll show you. All the way over there. Oh, down there. Because I have a very cluttered kitchen. I have a very small space. Okay. Zodiac Guy Ritual Tea Bag. I'm going to smell this. Minty, super minty. Okay. I'm really enjoying the way that they have put their candles in these paper bags. Oh yes, the Witch's Roots is the herbal subscription box, and the Witch's Bounty is the jewelry subscription box. Oh, a little glitter fell out. Look at that. Oh, that's done so nice. It's a nice little silver glitter with it. Absolutely beautiful. I'm starting to feel like I need to do all of my Witch's Moon unboxings live because it's so much nicer. It's lonely doing an unboxing. I like to do it with other people. There's your skullcap herb. Nice little portion of it. Okay, there's a crystal. And there's a crystal. I'm not sure what this is. Is it a form of polished calcite? Or is it an agate? Let's have a little look. Oh, yellow golden aventurine. We have included a tumbled yellow golden aventurine into this collection to activate your solar plexus and reawaken your personal will. Yellow aventurine assists us in creating, manifesting, focusing, and understanding. As you work through the messages of the zodiac, allow this stone to be your companion. Well, personal power and all of that beautiful fun stuff. I'm going to stick that straight in my bra. Yes. Oh, very cold. It's cold. It'll warm up in a minute. Okay, so we have the celestial myrrh. Scents. Oh, it smells so nice. I could smell it on the outside. That smells so nice. I'm gonna have that as my daily. That's gonna be my daily incense at the moment. Oh, there's a book. A little astrology. Let's have a little look. An introduction to the zodiac. What I want more people to do is how to understand the zodiac. As above, so below, an introduction, Western astrology, a history, meet the luminaries and planet, zodiac element, fire, earth, water, and air. The qualities, cardinal, fixed, and mutable, love maps on compatibility, astrology as assistant, scheduling opportunities. Destiny point, the north and south nodes, conclusion as within, so without, acknowledgements. Okay. This doesn't look comprehensive. This looks like a little taste test. I did go through an astrology book with my book club this year, I want to say, and I think it was called The Complete Book of Astrology. It was fantastic. It was actually the best book on astrology I have ever read, and I saw the confidence in people just like increase as comprehension sets in. The confidence also increases. So that is the full box, my loves. That was the full box. I really like this. I'm going to put this in the Inheritance Game book. Oh, yes. So there we have it. That was the astrology collection. We had a little bit of astrology and introduction by Colin Bell, the Zodiac Book of Shadows reference page, the Witch's Moon Zodiacal Design bookmark, the Zodiac Guide Ritual Tea Bag, Yellow Golden Aventurine, Celestial Myrrh Ritual Incense Sticks, wonderfully fragrant indeed. Starlight Mini Spell Candle, yes. Personalized Oracle Reading. There we go. Let's read a little bit about Skullcap in the words of the Witch's Moon. So Skullcap. It's always nice to hear I was going to say astrological, but botanical information. A personal herb in the mint family, skullcap is found natively within moist woodlands in North America and has been referred to as a marsh skullcap, helmet flower, and mad dog weed. Although prescribed to treat a variety of ailments in the 1700s, skullcap is now commonly known for its anxiolytic effects or its ability to relieve anxiety and tension. Energetically, This special herb provides the same benefits to our spiritual and magical work, including skullcap, into herbal bath mixtures to help relieve from stressful experiences, allowing yourself to cut the ties of worry and overthinking. In addition to its ability to bring calm and restorative energies to our work, skullcap has the strength to push away all negativity from our space, purifying our surroundings. Skullcap is a wonderful pre-ritual herb to include within incenses or blends to be used in preparation for study, shadow work, or meditation. Burn skullcap in collaboration with sages and barks to clear your mind for astrology work or zodiacal work. Elemental association, water, earth, celestial associations, moon, Saturn, zodiac associations, Capricorn, Pisces, and Scorpio. So, a nice botanical. So there we have it. That was the witch's roots, the one that just arrived the other day. I really, really like it. And now I feel very inspired to do another thing. I haven't yet pulled my cards for the day because I've been sitting here talking to you. Oh, thank you, Anne. But I do like to do a daily draw. Have to give my deck a really good shuffle because I was sectioning out cards yesterday or the day before. I've been slowly listing copies of the remaining Bonestone decks. I have a very good friend of mine now handling all of the orders and all of the dispatch, just because I cannot. I wanted to do it, so I pay her a wage now and she does that for me. So I've had to outsource some help because it's just been far too hectic in my neck of the woods. There's something so meditative. I might actually need a cup of coffee before I go to this thing. I'd like to ask you all a question. And I'm prompted to, I'm inspired to by the Queen of Swords here, who is a great educator. She's a wonderful teacher, right? So to those of you watching right now, what is it that in the wonderful world of the esoteric, the occult, witchcraft, tarot, think of that region, spirituality, what is it that you would really like to, one, learn, or two, refine? I'd be very interested to hear from you. I would really love to refine my understanding of astrology, and I would really like to comprehensively learn Lenormand. I dabble in both. Alrighty. Ooh. Oh, symbolism is a good one. Refine the linguistical skills of translating what I see into what I say about that. Oh, that's a nice one. Planetary work, yes. Ooh, especially Vedic astrology. That's beautiful. Okay, so would you like to see the cards that I've pulled for today? Our primary card that jumped out is the Queen of Swords, and that's my great teacher archetype. The Queen is an eloquent educator, someone who has that ability to translate, refine what it is that they see and they say. They are very balanced in the realms of communication. We're talking air, we're talking thought, invention, communication, ideas, inspiration. Like, so many of those qualities are very air. And when it comes to the Queen, she holds such a wonderful, well-rounded, grounded possession of those qualities. And therefore she becomes that eloquent speaker. You know, there's an elegance to the way that she articulates herself, and as such she is very good at conveying information, which is what makes her occupy the space of teacher to me. So whenever I see the Queen of Swords, I think about stepping into the role of an educator or seeking out a platform of education or a subject of education. I am a voracious learner. I'm a second deacon in Mercury, so I'm a voracious learner. I'm always doing courses. I always like to do courses. Right now I'm going through an art course thing, but they always sort of plug into what it is that I am trying to do within my practice. So I took a botanical drawing course because I want to garden magically, and I want to be able to do my own botanical illustrations and work with my own plants in my magic, and I want to be able to draw them so that I can do that. So that's the type of thing that I'm geared towards. And I find that the Queen of Swords, her magic is in how she doesn't seek to elevate herself through unnatural means. She is there because she's put the effort in. You know, she's put the effort in and she's there. It's as simple as that. She's elevated, exalted is the word that I'm looking for, exalted in that element of air. She can come across as quite cold, and she can also come across as a little stern. But for those who don't have that kind of triggering personality, she can really, really work with those people quite well. Very practical, very level-headed. She's not unkind. She's just very practical and level-headed. She's such a good communicator, such a good writer. And so when you're thinking about it, I'm thinking writing, reading, communication, and that beautiful teacher aspect. So what is it that I need to learn? What is it that I'm going to teach? It's just such a beautiful thing. And I think it's going to be someone exalted into that position, because we have the King of Wands, the fully exalted element of fire. And we know what fire is. Fire is salubrious. It's passionate. It's ambitious. It's the fight, right? I love the quality of fight in fire because it's a necessary fight. Thank you, darling. It's a necessary fight. It is one of those things where if you want it, you've got to go out where you can find it and you've got to get it. It puts the ownership of responsibility onto the person. Nobody can do this for you. Nobody can elevate your fire. You have to have that tenacity, which is also a key word for fire. You have to have that prowess, that gumption. And the thing that I love about the wands is that they're very showy. Fire signs by nature are look at me, hear me, see me. And it's a beautiful thing. You know, a lot of actors and performers find themselves cozied up to the element of fire within their zodiac, especially. And so, you know, there's a beauty to that. There's a really ostentatious external projection of beauty and awesomeness there. There's a lot of ego to the King of Wands as well, but he grounds that nicely because while he knows he's awesome, he has learned to settle down. He's not like the page going, I'm awesome, I'm awesome, I'm awesome, I'm awesome, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. Like, he's not like that. He was that, but now he's settled right down and he's like, I'm aware of how awesome I am and I don't need other people to know. I live by example now. That's exactly right. That is exactly right. And I'm going to show you something actually that's a little metaphor for this. Today I was on, where are you, Christina? There we go. Okay. Do not underestimate the power of connection. So look at that. Isn't that beautiful? That's a great metaphor for fire. Everyone can feel the warmth of a flame. Everyone is drawn to the flame. Everyone's drawn to fire. There's an attraction quality there. And so when you have these two, so you've got two court cards holding great space here, right? Really active cards. So you've got the teacher and you've got the performer, the grand performer, or the king of the ballroom, or the, somebody who's really exalted right there. You've got these two. So this is that knowledge and the ability to project that knowledge out, the authority. There's the word that I'm looking for. So you have the authority to teach, right? You have the authority to teach that which is hidden, that which is secret. You have that authority to teach that which is obscure, that which is unknown, that which is sneaky. I love this card. In the Rider-Waite-Smith, the Seven of Swords relates to clandestine affairs, right? Like way back in the very beginning of my tarot education here in Australia at the very least. I remember coming across that term, clandestine affairs, and I'm like, well, that explains it. And that's just settled in my brain. In the same way as the Fool is the spirit in search of experience, the Seven of Swords is for clandestine affairs. Now we boil that down, right? We're no longer in, the era where there's heavy espionage. There probably is, but it's much more clandestine now. But secrets, the obscuring of information is definitely present. And so when it comes to the secret, delivering a secret message to someone, have the confidence. You have the information to deliver this message. So are you meant to be doing something? Ask yourself this right now. Are you meant to be out there on a stage doing something? And when I say stage, I'm talking about any platform, whether it be in front of your computer, whether it be at a market stall, whether it be on a stage somewhere. Is it restless in you? Is that crackling away in you? Do you have the knowledge to broadcast, to project? Do you have that knowledge to share? Do you have the knowledge and that enterprise to share? Do you have the ambition to share that knowledge? Like, there's a lot in that King of Wands that you might want to sit with and actually mull around. But here it is. It's the secret. It's the secret. And there's two ways that you could look at this. It's either sharing the secret thing, the permission to share that secret thing. That's one way of looking at it. Or two, it's, do you have the last piece of information? The Queen of Swords says that you do, but you might not see that. You might feel like you don't have that full picture just yet, so that you can step out there and say what you want to say and do what you want to do and share what you want to share. It might not feel like this is the right time, but it's time to really examine that secret, that secret message, that under the table kind of something. And sometimes it can also mean stepping out of an obscure situation. So you've got the illumination of the King shining a bright light on everything. You've got the knowledge. Knowledge is power. So you've got power, you've got light. You've got force, you've got ambition. So power and ambition, let's look at that. And then you have this lonely card over here going, okay, it's some kind of clandestine thing. So the logical thing is to shed a light on that, to shine a little light on this secret, to blow it up. Well, I'm looking at this for myself at the moment. So today is probably the day that I find out whether or not I'm having open heart surgery or not. I am educated. I need to know. I need to be prepared for it, and it is unknown to me just yet. So this, I'm feeling this. I'm feeling a lot of this. Oh, the world is a stage. Yes, it is. Oh, hi, Sandy Black. Blessings to you from Tasmania. You're in Devon, England. The secret to have an open communication with spirit, like making a phone call. I'm still working on this. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. An open connection to spirit. How to clarify that. There's a beautiful thing that happens when you aspect spirit, right? I'll talk a little bit about this, knowing that it's quite a comprehensive... Hi! Knowing that it's quite a comprehensive subject. When you aspect a spirit, when they're in your space in some way, you can definitely attune to the feeling of spirit. You might not necessarily attune to the spirit, to what the spirit looks like. You might not be able to yet. Everyone can develop this. You might not be able to have that interactive, direct quality with spirit, but you can attune to that presence. And one of the ways that you do this is by attuning to the sounds of nature around you. When you start to keenly differentiate between man-made sounds in your own personal environment and then focus on, that nature around you, you start to sift through the sound barriers and you start to listen to it. And it's through that ultra-fine perception that you start to experience, you start to sense spirit. Why is it that in the dark, when you're moving around the house by yourself, there is a heightened sense of something? It's because everything's very, very quiet. There's the absence of light, but everything is very quiet at night. Quiet in a different way. And when I say quiet, you might live on the edge of a freeway, but the sound of the world is different in the middle of the night to that of the daytime, right? The sounds are different. So you have to refine that sense. And what happens is you can start to sense the presence of something other. And once you have started to really become comfortable with that, because it feels a little static at first, it feels like a bit of a shock and can sometimes feel intrusive. Depending on the vibe of the spirits around you, especially, it feels a little different. And so you get to attune to the presence. And once you've attuned to the presence, it's just a matter of exposure to becoming attuned to the presence of a spirit, to then listening, hearing that spirit come through to you in a different way. And they can come through to you in heat signature, they can come through to you in sound, they can come through to you in thought perception and projection. The way my spirits talk to me is they provide me with like these images in my mind's eye, and then these images are translated into the language center of my brain and they come out as words. So that's how it happens for me. Whenever I've got a specific spirit around, I see things like glimpses and flashes of things in my mind's eye, and it translates. So in readings for clients, for instance, I see a flash of a feather in a drawer or something like that, or a feather wrapped up and stuffed in a drawer in the very back of the drawer. And I remember this is a very vivid one, that's why I'm mentioning it. A beautiful client of mine came to me. She was struggling because she had lost her brother, and it was heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking. And I'm doing a reading for her, and this is really not my area. I work with spirit allies. I don't work with the dearly departed because of various reasons, and none of them have anything to do with fear. It's like very voodoo reasons, right? And I did this. It came through very naturally. We were going in one direction and this just happened very organically, very naturally. So I honored it. And I said, there's a feather. There's a forgotten feather. A feather that has been forgotten, that you both found. A connection, a tag. if you know what I mean, a tag lock of some description. And that was part of the message. That was it. And then, hold on. Hello. Hi, Sammy. How you doing? Yeah. Oh, he's with Maddie at the moment. No worries then. Thank you so much. Okay. Bye. Oh my God. That was the school asking if my son had had his ADHD medication. Anyways, as I was saying, I translate this information. I've given it to my client. This is many, many years ago, right now. And it, you know, it's certain things that change a person's life. You know, that feeling of connection after you've lost someone. You just get that thing, you know, she's like, oh my gosh, my brother and I, we had this thing, and, you know, and she explained to me the nature of this feather, and I'm just like, oh, you know, and it happens a bit like that. You get the flashes of it, it translates into the language center of your brain, and you just start to speak. It's very natural. It's very, I'm going to use a word that makes me feel very uncomfortable here, but it's very psychic. It's very natural. It's supernatural in a way, but it's natural, and it's a natural progression, and exposure is what does it. I don't recommend for people to go and sit in cemeteries to try and surround themselves with ghosts and try and do it that way. I don't think that that's the healthiest way of doing it, but each to their own. Some people feel at peace in cemeteries. I am not one of those people. I can't go traipsing through the cemeteries. It's not a hangout spot for me. The dead are entitled to their peace, and that's a really strict rule for me. That's a really strict rule. And also, I'm sticky. My spirits like to hold on to spirits, so I pick up a little bit too much karga in that instance. But for learning how to connect with spirit, listen to nature first. Step 1, filter through the man-made noise. Step 1. Step 2, listen to nature. Really listen to nature and continue to do this. This is something that takes time. That's why meditation can be good, because it's just let's say a minute's worth of breath work where you're focusing on your breath, only your breath and the feeling, and then listening to nature and then seeing what comes of that. My energy like a pool, when it touches it gets stuck until I fish it out. Yeah, it can be a little bit like that. There's like a stickiness, like a hook to it. Some people attract spirits, and that's not a good thing. I have this story of a beautiful neighbor when I was growing up, a little girl. She attracted spirits. And her attraction of spirits led her to develop, this is controversial, mind you, so I'm just going to say this very carefully, led her to develop symptoms that were like epilepsy, silent epilepsy, no swallowing of the tongue, but it looked like a seizure where she would lay down and dribble and just be out of it. And we thought, oh my gosh, she's epileptic. So it went and took her to all of the tests. This went on for a very long time, folks. Yeah, it wasn't until she was, I want to say, maybe like 8 or 9, that it happened once in my house, and we were having a celebration, and there was a lot of people in the house, and my grandmother's was a voodoo priestess, so everyone that comes to our place, very voodoo. And they came to touch her, they came to pick her up off the bed, and, oh, thank you, man. They came to pick her up off the bed, and they all start to turn. So I'm talking a room full of maybe 4 women, all possessed by spirit, like in a proper ritual possession. So as it turns out, after a lot of investigation and a lot of time, this is a very turnaround story. This beautiful girl had just this knack of attracting spirits, and her body, her sense of spirit was too young to support it. So she ended up having to initiate in Candomblé, and she had her head shaved and she had all of her full initiation rituals and that, and never had an experience like that ever again. No epilepsy, just a full-blown spiritist from the time she was really tiny. And she was my baby sister's best friend, so I know this story intimately, and I was there for half of it. But now she's a grown woman. She's this beautiful, beautiful woman, and she's got children of her own, and she is still a practitioner of Candomblé. She's still a voodooist. And that just opened up the pathways of her life. She was just one of those people that attracted spirits. And I've seen people handle it really well, and I've seen people handle it really bad. But I don't believe that, I don't believe that cemeteries are necessarily the most healthiest places. And I go in there fully armed to my teeth, spiritually speaking. But there are some people whose spirits love the cemetery. My baby sister has spirits that love the cemetery. She walks in there and she comes out energized. So it really depends on your spirits. It really does. I'm not saying no, don't go into a cemetery and don't interact with spirits in a cemetery, because each to their own. Only your spirits will determine how you are going to fare. And I know for myself that cemeteries are not a place for me. When I go in there, I have to go armed to my teeth. I went to a cemetery experience with a group of witches, like back in Cairns many, many years ago. And I wasn't perfectly satisfied with the parameters of the equipment that I was taking in. I took in my white candle, I took in Florida water, I took in all sorts of things. I had my white headscarf on, I had all of my trinkets, I had stuff on me, over me, on me. I had smoke cleansers, and I had all of these types of things, and I had offerings for the dead. And we've gone in there, but I just don't remember every witch having the same thing. And we've left there, and I have just had this sense of uneasy. So we decided that we would go to this beautiful rock pool far away from where the actual cemetery was. We'd go to this beautiful rock pool and just do a big, big cleanse. We'd go put our feet in the water, splash ourselves. This is a place where it was fresh water bubbling over rocks, and there's fireflies, and it's absolutely beautiful, exquisite really. And we've gone there, and I've tried to cleanse, and we've lit a candle, and we're sitting there, and we're all sitting with this sense of unease. And it was just very, very curious, this sense of unease. And we got back, as we jumped back in the car and as we started to drop people off, we dropped number 1 off and then number 2, and on the way back, there's 3 people in a car. My friend Erin was driving, and it was this big, big roundabout near our houses, and it's like 1 a.m. So there's literally not a car in sight. We stop at the roundabout because that's what you have to do to go around, and out of nowhere we're hit by a car. And the roundabout sits about 800 meters from the cemetery that we were at. And after that, I was like, no more cemeteries. And we had to do road openers, and we had to do full cleansings, and it was just such a heavy thing to have to deal with. And against my better judgment, mind you, against my better judgment. And I should know better, first and foremost, but I was going with other people. So I'm like, you know what, everyone's spirits are different. I just look after myself, and I things in my bra and things in my shoes and like necklaces that were all blinged and headscarf. And I wore white. So I walk in there with white. I don't ever wear black in a cemetery. And and this all happened, and it took a long time for us all to calm down from that. But not long after that experience, we had a succession of road accidents. We had our car accident. My then husband got into another accident, and this was all around the vicinity of this cemetery. And there were a couple more. A friend of mine who was going through Parkinson's investigation. She came around the roundabout to our street, to the street that I used to pull off from to go to my house. She passed out, hit a telegraph pole, and the whole pole came down, and she's in her little yellow V-dub. And it was just like car accidents. And I'm like, there's something sticky. There's something sticky hanging around. And so we each had to start moving stuff, moving all the heavy energy, moving that sticky spirit energy. Spirits are no joke. They're just no joke. You got to know who you are, got to know who your spirits are before you can start to interact with any other spirit. And getting to know your spirits are part of that process. Knowing your spirits is the first point of call to any spiritist. Know your spirits. When we are 7 in my culture, you get to go and have your buzios, your carry shell divination done, and you find out your spirits. My grandmother's Preto Velho, her spirit, Tia Maria, she did all of our divinations for us. And so I found out at a young age that I had an Emanja and an Ogul. And then I found out that my matron, you could say, my mãe de cabeça, was starting to shift to Iansa. And I went back there when my baby girl was 1 year old, and I was back to Emanja. So I get a little toggling. I get a little motherly archetype, and I get a little toggling happening when I start to really move through my spirits. But I have a Pombagira, and she is very fond of fig trees. And I have so many spirits. There are so many spirits. And I have a mysterious one. I don't know if I've ever told anyone about this, or told, you guys about this, but I have this mysterious spirit. She looks like she might be Peruvian. She always wears white, always like a very basic white top, very basic knee-length skirt, just above the knee skirt, really chocolate skin. Looks like my ancestors, long brown hair to about here, broader face. And she pops up. She pops up at times of eclipses. She pops up when I'm doing like heavy removal work. She popped up when I was doing some magic with Gordon of Rune Soup. She pops up from time to time, and I see her out of the corner of my eye in the visual plane. I see her from time to time, and whenever I do, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, she is that person, she's that spirit for me, and I'm like, where's the poo? Where is it? What's happening? Like, what's the trouble? Where is it coming from? And I back right off. And she has literally saved my life 3 times. 3 damn times. I'm like, oh. So she's one of my lesser known, but I've worked with her, and I'm getting to know her. It takes years to know your spirits, especially the ones that aren't part of your familial line. Like if you've got ancestral spirits are chatty. They're not chatty in the sense of, they'll just open up and talk to you, but they're part of your blood lineage. So eventually one of them will speak or will huff and puff at you, It's not like trying to get to know a different spirit outside of your ancestral lineage. If you don't have a blood link to a spirit, it's harder to get to know them. And they really have to want to know you. And so my beautiful little spirit lady that likes to pop up from time to time, I have this beautiful visual as well. Like my partner and I, we talk about this a lot. He's very otherworldly planes at times. He's very multidimensional in his way of thinking. Very open-minded guy. And and I say to him, like, occasionally when I'm meditating or when I'm sleeping or just when I'm in a more mellow headspace, I close my eyes and I see the same thing, the same damn thing all the time. And that is me standing there, this spirit standing next to me, a smaller person standing next to me. And I'm looking out at a purple sky and 3 moons. That's it. That's all I get. Every time. That's as far as I get. And I've looked into this because it has happened for freaking years. I'm not talking like 5 years, 10 years. I'm talking about since I was a child. I see this. I see it. And the first time this spirit woman made herself known to me outside of that experience, I've always sensed her in this visual that I have. I've always sensed it. Was during an eclipse when I had just very recently moved to Tasmania. I remember waking up. I had like pneumonia, I believe, and I'm having a what do you call it? I thought I'd do a spirit journey during the eclipse. Not recommended for beginners. I'm like, I need to find my way through this eclipse, and I felt really sick at the time, so that's all I could do, just lay there in my bed with the light of the moon on me and do a spirit journey. And she appeared to me. She just decided to step out in front of me and became fully visible, and she like interacted with me in this meditative, like path working kind of journey space. And I was like, oh my God. I was in my 40s when that happened. I've had this visual since I was a child. So it all came to this point of reconciliation, and nothing made me feel like I was more in the right place at the right time than that experience did. There are some times where spirit comes in just to fortify the fact that you're exactly where you need to be. And she's been really, really good. She's been very, very good to me. It's just one of my favorites. Anyways, I've been on here for ages, 91 minutes and 52, and I've got to go to this thing at 11:30, and I've got to try to at least have some food, but I have seriously enjoyed my chat with you guys. Oh, thank you. And I think I need to do this more often. I get in my own way as far as creating for YouTube goes. I actually really like having the chat with you. I like to do a live unboxing. Oh, thank you. And I think I need to do more of it. Like I'm really quite, what is it called? What's the word? I really respect a Truth In Story for her weekly lives. She has just pretty much forever, religiously done these weekly lives. And, oh, thank you, Kay. And I really respect that. If I could commit to a weekly live, I would love to. I just have such a busy schedule. Thank you, Angela. And I don't think that I can, but I do love to get on here and do a live. And I always cover so much. I feel like I cover so much when I'm on live and I'm interacting and I'm reading people's comments as we go. Oh, thank you, Bougie Mystic. And it gives me an opportunity to do a little reading for you guys, and it gives me an opportunity to talk about my favorite things, and it gives me an opportunity to just do an unboxing, and just it gives me so much opportunity. And so thank you so much for those of you who have been able to tune in. I know this is a very long one, but I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate the donations, and I appreciate your time, and I appreciate your questions and the conversation. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful to be able to interact with like-minded people. Hi, Tracy. It's so beautiful to allow the community to interact with themselves as well. Like, we're all spread so far around the world. And isn't it beautiful that we can just come together and have a little chat and make friends? It's just beautiful. I love it. All right, my loves. Well, I'm going to skedaddle. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And I hope to do this again soon. So take care. And be kind to one another and enjoy the holiday without all the dramas, please. Pretty please with sugar on top. And for those of you who are interested, I uploaded, I'm going to show you this. Wait for it. Oh, my sweetie just sent me and I love you. I love him. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I just uploaded this thing here. Like, it's Coven holiday ideas, right, for my Patreon Coven. And I've got welcome to the holiday season. I've got a comprehensive checklist. And then I've got a ritual cleansing recipe. I've got the process. I've got to freshen up your charms for the new year. Like, this is very much about the holiday planning, like enduring your holiday season and preparing magically for the new year. So I've got to freshen up the charms to close down all your magic. So I've got a comprehensive little bit about closing down your magic. So I've got freshen up your charms. And then I've got the underwear blessing. I know, shoes and underwear are my thing. And then a little color magic guide here because it's relevant to everything that we're talking about. So I go through all of the colors there. And then a Christmas blessing spell. And then I've got a New Year spell. And then I've got a call in fortune for the new year process. And that's it. So it's a very comprehensive guide there in Coven space. So I'm very excited to see what people do with that as well. And so if you're interested in taking a look at that, head on over to Coven. It's on Patreon, but I've got a couple of other things happening as well over there, and it's just really fun at the moment. It's fun. And I like doing these written posts. I get so much out. I go through these seasons in my life where I'm a better speaker than I am a writer, and then I toggle back to a better writer than a speaker. And so I like to be able to go up and down with that. Having that fully written out is fantastic. And then for Card Slinger, for those who are interested in tarot, that is. There, let me find it. Okay, I have done, I'm talking deck stocking stuffers, that kind of stuff. And then the welcome to the holiday season, which is very much and then I've got tarot and oracle spreads to help you out. So I've got some tarot and oracle spreads there. You know, that kind of stuff. And I've got one coming up as well for the holidays. So I've been busy over there, doing a lot of writing actually, which I really enjoy. So if you want to support my channel over there, that would be really lovely. I love having you guys there, and it's a little bit more of an intimate space as well. I love YouTube. I love getting on here, and I love sharing that stuff on YouTube, and I won't stop doing that anytime soon. But that's a place where I get to be a little bit more candid. I get to show images of my garden. Lately, the witches over there have been like, can we have a garden tour? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so wanting to do a garden tour. I've never done a garden tour, but I can't do it until I've actually done the mowing. So I'm planning a little garden tour. And yeah, so gratitude to you too, and much love to you guys, many blessings. I'm going to head off now. Take care, have a beautiful day or a beautiful tomorrow or whatever that is. See ya.